Good morning and happy Monday, everyone. My name is Jarden. For those who missed my first video I posted last week, I am an endurance runner. I am training for my 4th Austin Marathon. I'm here in Austin, Texas, and I will be running that in February 2017. I am doing these videos to kind of document my journey over the next 6.5, 7 months as I continue to run and train for the race. And I've partnered with BSX Technologies, or BSX Athletics, to kind of document what it means to do lactate threshold training. And I am going to be using their BSX Insight. It's a calf sleeve that you wear on the same calf every time to basically show what it means to do that lactate threshold testing. Now, I actually did my first endurance test yesterday, and I kind of wanted to do it because I don't actually start my official training plan until October. So I wanted to do a test before I get really deep into my training and I get into a certain regimen, just to see kind of where my levels and fitness levels are now. So it'll be really interesting to see over the next 6 months how everything improves and to see how I'm doing and becoming a better runner through all these test results and through all the training. So 2 things that I wanted to talk about today. First of all, I kind of wanted to go over what the actual test itself entails and what you need to do to try and get accurate readings. And then I'm also kind of going to talk about what exactly is your lactate threshold. Now again, this is the first race that I'm really using like really awesome technology. When I first started running about 6 years ago, I had no idea you could use a Garmin watch, or I had no idea you should use a heart rate monitor or a calf sleeve or something like that. This is all so new to me still. So this will be the first race that I've used this much technology. So I'm really excited to see my progress as a runner, and just to see my improvements in general in the science aspect of running, what makes you a better runner scientifically. So I'm very excited to document this journey, and I'm really happy to have you along with me for everything. So first of all, I did my first endurance test yesterday, or lactate threshold test, and ideally the test, basically it's broken down into different stages. They're 3 minutes each, so you start at a really slow pace, and you end up working your way basically to the point of exhaustion. So you start 3 minutes, for me, based off of my current fitness levels, how many times a week I'm running, how many miles a week I run. Usually they kind of create a formula for you off of how fast you should be running in each zone. So in the first zone, it was 3 minutes at like a 20-minute a mile pace, so I was walking very slow. That definitely increased, so every 3 minutes it increases a bunch, and by the end of it I was running an 8.5-minute mile. That was 33 minutes in, so it slowly increases over time. And ideally you want to get at least 7 zones in, so that's at least 21 minutes basically to get an accurate test, because you're trying to find the point of exhaustion, and you're trying to find where you hit that point, and basically that's your lactate threshold, which kind of brings me into my next little segment. So kind of what is lactate, or lactic acid? Again, I'm still learning a lot of this, so I'm trying to give the most accurate information from all of my research, but it's been really fascinating, kind of learning the science behind how you do what you do. So anyways, lactate or lactic acid, they're interchangeable terms, same thing. Basically, it contributes to kind of like why you hurt at the end of the race, why you're sore, but it's also a source of energy. And your body breaks down glucose for energy, and lactate is actually a byproduct of glucose. So basically when you're doing an easy run, like you're just jogging, not producing that much effort, your body will reconvert and recycle excuse me, that lactic acid back into energy. That way you can officially expel waste products. So the production of lactate basically remains constant when you're running at an easy aerobic pace, because that doesn't obviously require a huge demand for energy. But obviously the more you run, if you're holding a steady pace for a longer extended period of time, or you're hitting those short bursts of sprints, basically that production of lactic acid will soar and it goes up really high, and it won't be able to convert the lactic acid back into energy, and you won't be able to expel the waste products. Basically, that point, that's your lactate threshold. So it's kind of at the point when you start to see yourself slow down in a race, and you're like, oh my God, I'm so sore, I can't do this anymore. You've reached your threshold because you can no longer maintain that pace. So that's where it kind of gets a bad rap, and lactic acid is, probably one of the biggest reasons as to why you slow down as the race goes on. So especially for an endurance runner, or a marathon runner, half marathon, whatever you're doing, any sort of endurance run, that's a really important factor. Like, you don't want to have to slow down, but obviously when you're running 13.1, 26.2, if you're doing an ultra, 50K, whatever you're doing, that's super important to keep in mind, because you want to try and maintain your pace throughout the race. So basically, in short, what is your lactate threshold? Basically, it's the fastest pace that you can run without generating more of that acid, more acid than your body can actually use and reconvert back into energy. So basically, this pace would usually be, like, if you're a marathon runner, it's usually like your half marathon pace, because you can hold that for at least that time, and your body is not going to get so exhausted doing it. Ideally, a tempo run or a threshold run, which is why you would use your calf sleeve, is really important, and it's a workout that will have you running just below or at your threshold pace. So for me, that's what this test is going to do. So this test is going to continually monitor, what is my threshold pace? Where do I finally hit that pace where I know I just can't hold it any longer and I'm done? So instead of going out and spending hundreds of dollars on, blood tests, which a lot of, Olympic athletes and endurance athletes will do, because they're trying to measure their lactate threshold, this calf sleeve eliminates all of that, and you can just do it like on a treadmill in your gym or wherever you're working out. So it basically eliminates the need for you to go out and spend all this money. Instead, you get one thing that over the course of your training is going to help you immensely with everything you're doing. So I'm really, really excited to see how I progress, and I can see my different levels. I can see how well I did in each zone running. So it's going to be really cool to see what I can do over the next 7 months with all of the smart technology. And ideally, the more you do tempo runs and the more you do these threshold tests, your body gets stronger. You're going to get used to running at a certain pace, and you'll be able to adapt basically to that increased production of lactic acid, so you don't automatically slow down every time. So ideally, you run faster with less effort. That's kind of the whole thought process that you're trying to go in. So I'm very excited to see what I can do, but that's just kind of, I know it's a lot of information, but that's, for me at least, a short summary of what I did yesterday and what I will try and continually do over the next 6.5, 7 months as I keep training. So stay tuned for any updates. You're welcome to follow my Instagram, Run a Clock Somewhere. Leave me any comments or posts below. I'd be happy to answer, or feel free to comment under my Instagram posts as well. So thank you guys so much, and I'll talk to everyone soon.